Every colonel has a superpower. Hey, I am Chuck the bureaucrat, and you've probably heard me say before that as soon as you get selected for major, the Army wants you to be competitive for colonel. And you've probably figured out from our conversations about promotion boards that the selection rate to colonel is really low. And so it's reasonable to expect that the people who get selected for colonel are exemplars of what the organization wants. Now, you can accuse me of being biased, but I've found this to be consistently true. If you look close enough at a colonel, you will find an ability that the Army values. But here's the rub. Just because a colonel has an ability that's valuable to the Army does not mean that the Army puts them in a position that uses that ability. There was this one colonel who was like a bloodhound. He just laid on the porch in the sun, flies buzzing around him. Every time I saw him, he was like, "Hey, come on in my office." And he'd brew me a cappuccino, and then he'd sit and talk with me and ask how my mom was doing. I was convinced he had no superpower. But then one day, it was like the sheriff showed up on that porch with the scarf from a missing kid. "Come on, boy, let's go find Becky." And this guy was off like a shot through the swamp, dragging deputies so fast that they couldn't keep up. So that's the first thing. Just because a colonel seems like dead weight, do not underestimate them. You never know when they're going to click into a situation where they are extremely competent. Second, if you're working for a colonel, you should try to figure out what their superpower is and then try to augment it. If you've got a boss who sticks her neck out for soldiers, watch your back so enemies don't take advantage of it. Another thing to keep in mind is that what makes people special usually is not the kind of thing that shows up on a resume. And this is where it starts to matter for you majors and lieutenant colonels. Your evaluations are going to focus on what you did and the success you achieved in doing it. But how you succeeded is not going to get written down. In fact, it might not even get talked about. But trust me, by the time you're a mid-grade lieutenant colonel, your superpower is well established, and it's important that you know what it is. Because what you want to do is you want to start leveraging that capability. Start looking for situations where you can add value by doing what you are very good at. Understanding how you work is just as important as understanding how the system influences your career. So watch this video on promotion boards to see what's really driving whether or not you get promoted.